2015 was the hottest year since they started keeping records in 1880, and thanks to rising ocean temperatures, average sea levels have already risen about 8 inches. The risk of just 2 degrees means the cause of massive droughts, massive wildfires, and the loss of many species. The collapse of our agricultural productivity and the rising sea levels can make our coastal cities uninhabitable. And right now, companies and countries have already owned enough fossil fuels in reserve to get us over that limit 5 times. Unfortunately, even the Paris Agreement didn't go far enough. It's non-binding, and even if the nations stick to their word, it won't prevent us from exceeding 2 degrees of warming.
Climate change is essentially all of the long-term weather patterns changing. And so it encompasses a lot. Climate change evolves with ocean and ocean temperatures, air and air temperatures, and how that impact our weather. So 70% of the Earth is ocean, and so with the changing temperature of the ocean, that helps drive different weather patterns. And with climate change, we're seeing such things as species of animals moving into different directions. So for instance, lobsters that grow on Long Island Sound are now going to be found in Canada. We're seeing the acidity of soils change. It's important because it affects every one of us. It may not affect you the here and the now immediately in every spot, but over time that will. So for instance, here in Philadelphia, we get a lot more heavy rainstorms with flooding than we used to. We're seeing longer term heat waves. So the types of produce that you may find at the grocery store, the prices of them may be higher because it's becoming more difficult to grow those particular produce items in certain states. For instance, the Jersey tomato may, in 10 or 20 years, not be able to be grown, with the way it's been grown, in recent years. California, the wildfire situation, we're going to see more droughts, more heat waves, and the impacts on our winter may be different too, where we actually have more snow in the Northeast because of the changing weather patterns. So even though it's warmer than average and the Earth is warming, that doesn't mean it stops winter storms and stuff like that. But your overall weather patterns are changing to be more extreme. We're seeing way more extremes, more hurricanes, more droughts, more fires all over the world.
I don't think there's any magic number where we're okay up to that number and all of a sudden that number gets hit and catastrophe happens. Every 1/10 of a degree that it gets warmer will have consequences. And the warmer it gets, the more severe the consequences are going to be. So by the time you're talking about 2.5, 3.5 degrees, there are massive effects all over the world. We have sea level rise to a degree where some of the biggest cities in the world are going to have to be abandoned. Where are those people going to go? All right, if New York or Miami is uninhabitable, we can move those people in other areas of the country. But what about Bangladesh? What about the Philippines? What about these poor countries that are also low-lying and have millions and millions of people? Where are they going to go? Who's going to take care of them? You can't just let them drown. So this is going to lead to massive societal changes and crises, and perhaps even international crises, maybe even wars, because people have a survival instinct. They will do what they have to do to survive. No, it's not too late. The longer we wait to get things done, the more extreme those changes are going to have to be. The quicker we're going to have to make the change, the more dramatic we're going to have to make the change. So every year where nothing significant gets done makes the future that much harder.
But what is it so important about that people should understand about climate change?
Well, the thing is, unfortunately, you can't see it. You can't see the carbon dioxide up there. So you see a blue sky and you think the atmosphere is perfectly clean and there isn't a problem. If you're not the ones affected by the wildfires, you're not the ones getting hit by the hurricane, you're not the one getting hit by the flood, what does that mean to you? What are you wanting to do, willing to do, caring about even? So that's the difficulty. You can't get enough people to see the consequences of doing nothing.
Here's what you can do. Speak out. When you address climate change, you should spread the word of it. Tell your friends and family. Contact your elected officials. Tell your congressman why this issue matters to you. Give what you can to organizations like the National Resource Defense Council and the Union of Concerned Scientists. There's a growing movement of people working to end financial support of the fossil fuels, so invest.